Welcome to Global Entrepreneurship Week and day 4 of 7 days of free webinars, especially tailored for rural Australia. Tonight's conversation is exploring how businesses can capitalise on the digital era. Can you afford not to be on the internet? We have quite a few case studies for you, and our special guest, Elise Brown from Fair Dinkum Dog Coats, is here with me. And we'll be getting her to explain how she transformed her wholesale business into an online retail platform. For those of you on social media, the hashtag is GEW 2017, and my Twitter handle is @KerryWords, or on Facebook, my page is Rural Entrepreneurs. For those of you that don't know me, I work with rural towns and have small businesses myself. And currently I'm running an Operation Next Gen program with a few rural towns right across Australia. That's where my passion is. And obviously I like to do workshops and speak and do some research, community engagement from time to time. So please feel free to contact me if you are interested and would like to know more. And recently I wrote a book on entrepreneurship, which is a high area of interest for myself. So let's get on with our topic tonight. And when I did a little bit of research, sometimes it's called an e-business or an online business, and they're pretty much one in the same. But what an exciting time to be in business in the digital age. Not only can businesses become more productive and expand their markets, they can also choose to be totally online if they wish and bypass a physical storefront. Looking at the top 6 online businesses in Australia, you can see that they are a mix: homewares, fashion and books, and all have risen in the past decade or so. Some of them are selling one item per second, which is pretty impressive. While some of these businesses were born in the digital era, you can see that JB Hi-Fi, and it has lots of physical storefronts, has jumped on board and are doing very well. It might only be 2.2% of their total sales, but that equated to 75 million in 2015. Not bad. One of the big advantages of starting an online business is that you don't need huge amounts of capital. Ruslan Kogan from Kogan.com started in his parents' garage in Melbourne and is now worth a cool $315 million. Booktopia was also launched in 2004 on a $10 a day budget from the family home. Naomi Simpson, who founded Red Balloon, and you might have seen her on Shark Tank in recent years, often tells how her kids helped out with packaging around the dinner table. She also remembers that it took her 2 months and 4 days to sell her first Red Balloon experience. For those who haven't come across Red Balloon before, it is a platform where you can buy a gift voucher for one of 3,000 experiences in Australia or New Zealand. Last Easter, I cashed in my voucher for a sunset cruise around Phillip Island, but it could have been abseiling or scuba diving or horse riding, anything really. And there are many great examples out in the region of unique online businesses being established. One of my first business blogs was on Jared Robinson, a physical education teacher at Bort Secondary College. By day, he was a teacher, and by night he designed apps from his living room couch. It all started because he believed that technology would help his Year 12 students to better prepare for their end-of-year exams. And it's ended up in a very lucrative business. Eventually he had to give up teaching because he's so busy travelling the world marketing his apps and running international conferences. Clearly, if you have a great idea for an online business, there are many benefits and it is achievable on a very low budget. Like every business, there are also potential disadvantages, but you just need to assess the risks and minimise them where you can. Business.gov.au has some great resources online if you would like to check it out. Something I particularly want to focus on in tonight's discussion is how digital technology is being used by the more traditional bricks and mortar businesses. One of my fellow columnists for Inside Small Business, Annette Stafford, believes that many small businesses are failing to understand the importance of their digital footprint. So, do we have the capacity to use technology in rural businesses? Obviously, the internet isn't as prevalent or as good in remote areas, but it is getting better. ABS stats from June 2016 tell us that 95% of Australian businesses have access to the internet. But do they make use of that access is the big question. Incredibly, only half have a web presence, and even less again promote themselves via social media. In terms of productivity and doing business, there are countless ways digital technology can be useful. We could go on forever. But for the moment, let's just focus on how your business can have a digital footprint in terms of marketing and customer access. There is so much more we could talk about, but here are three very basic ways: website, social media, and email. If I play the devil's advocate for a moment, many small businesses, particularly in a rural town, would argue that they are already easy to find and a website is too costly to set up and just too hard to administer. Likewise, learning how to be savvy on social media, setting up a page, posting and monitoring, all takes up valuable time. Plus, there is the risk that someone will say really nasty things about you. Heaven forbid. When you're busy in the business, sometimes it's even hard to find time to open up your emails, let alone respond to them. I've heard all these arguments. Well, unless you're the soup Nazi from Seinfeld or have an absolute monopoly, perhaps we can sway your thinking with a few case studies this evening. Let's start off with Elise, our special guest this evening. She's owner of Fair Dinkum Dog Coats and winner of the 2010 Victorian Regional Achievement Career and Business Award. I suspect she's itching to respond to some of these arguments I've put forward, but first I'll get her to tell us a little bit about her business. So welcome, Elise, and I should disclose, should I not, that in actual fact you are my daughter and my former business partner in a stock and poultry store, and probably the most intelligent business person of us both. So welcome. Let's start off talking about Fair Dinkum Dogs. Describe the business as you bought it.
I purchased the business as a wholesale business. It was run by the ladies in the ladies' garage at the time, a friend of ours, and I purchased the business, and since then...
What did it look like though? What did you actually purchase?
So the business was purely wholesale, and I think I had 2 images. So we worked on getting some wonderful photographs of the product.
Which is? Describe what the product is.
So I make oilskin dog coats. Oilskin is cotton, which is made waterproof, using oil, of course. So they're very durable coats, but very waterproof and obviously wind resistant as well, and keep the dogs nice and warm.
Okay, so you had an industrial machine, you've got your products. Who were you selling to when you bought the business?
The business came with existing customers, pet shops. And
where were they?
All over Australia.
Yeah.
And I worked on getting more and more pet shops on board, and the wholesale really took off and went really well because the standard of the product. But I just found that I was getting worked into the ground and doing very long hours, late nights. And at the end of the day, the money wasn't great for what I was putting out.
So that's a good reason to change. Why? What prompted you to think of online sales?
At the time, we owned the pet shop as well as doing Fair Dinkum Dog Coats, and I was seeing that there was a niche market with dogs that couldn't get coats to fit them straight off the rack. You couldn't just walk into a pet shop and get a coat to fit a greyhound or a whippet. And I realised the niche market that I could and the hole that I could fill there. And I started making whippet and greyhound, dachshunds, pugs, anything that was hard to make. That's what I was doing. And obviously doing the long hours, I looked into selling them directly. And in 2013, I decided to purely go retail, not wholesale. Pretty risky move at the time, but I'm so glad I made it.
And I can remember that day and saying, oh, is this a good decision or not you're making?
Yes, I actually posted all the letters before I told her.
So you told all your existing wholesale customers Australia-wide, sorry, I'm not going to sell to you anymore. I'm going to sell direct to customers online. So did you have web experience?
No, none at all.
How did you go about this then?
I managed to find a contact and I spoke to her and explained I didn't know anything, but I was very keen to learn, and that part of employing her to do the website was to teach me. And I worked with her for many years doing Fair Dinkum Dog Coats as well as our pet shop website. And she was wonderful, and the day she retired was a pretty sad day for me. But I did find a replacement for her, and once again directly said, you need to teach me how to run my own website. You need to keep me up to date with how I make adjustments and changes myself. But at the end of the day, if I don't have time to do it or it's just a bit too tricky, I just get them to change it for me.
Yep. So you need that professional support, but it's important you can do it yourself. Was it costly? Do you recall how much you had to pay to get the website set up?
I think it was probably about $2,000, and within that it was training as well. So I was pretty happy with that.
Good effort. So how do you've got a website, you've got all your products, you've obviously got the mechanism in that for people to shop and buy the product. How do you get customers to come to your website then?
Well, thankfully, my business is 25 years plus. I've lost track, but yeah, it's definitely been around a long time, the product. So word of mouth has been wonderful. We use Facebook, and I've got flyers out and about. I use Gumtree actually quite a lot, and I'll delete my post and repost it quite regularly. I find that helps quite well, but probably word of mouth would be my biggest customer
because it's a good strong brand. Good. So you've been doing this for around about 4 years. What's been the result? Has it been a good decision to go totally online?
So I've been selling retail for 4 years, yes, and it's the best move I ever made. I was looking at my figures, and I am doing half the amount of work, but
So you're making less coats,
half the amount of coats, and 30% more net profit.
So you're doing less work for better profit.
And with a 5-year-old and 3-year-old, I'm very thankful for that.
I bet you are. Yeah. So it's a great example, and I'll be the first one to say that I was a little bit worried about making that decision, but in your instance, it has proven well worthwhile. In many other instances, and particularly with the shop that we had, it was very much bricks and mortar and relying on customers coming in. But we also had the website and we did sales through that. So it was a minimal proportion from memory, but it was still supplementing our income.
I think the website for the pet shop was only maybe 12 months old when we sold the business, so it really didn't get enough time to get up and running.
So potentially it could have.
But even the local customers were checking out online before they were coming into the shop, and that one...
doing their research.
That one lady from Queensland.
Yes, we had a wonderful occasion, and I was in the shop that day, and a couple from Queensland walked in, and they knew exactly what they wanted to see. They had researched online and planned their holiday to come down through Castlemaine, especially to come in and purchase that product. Obviously, they didn't need it in a hurry. And it was a great win for us to show that people were looking at the website, but also a great win for our local community because they actually came and holidayed and stayed in our town for a short while. So it was really good.
I just also wanted to say that I was fortunate enough that my grandparents gave me their sewing room. My grandmother was a wonderful sewer and is a wonderful sewer. And now we're building my sewing room onto our property so I can be at home with the kids more or less as well as working, and the flexibility of online is just the best for our family.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Well, we'll bring you in a little bit more on the discussion as we keep going. Now we've got you talking. So, as Elise mentioned, she uses a Facebook page to help promote her business, and indeed social media is huge with many platforms to choose from. You would have to be a marketing guru to know what all of these things are. I know a few of them, but not all. Rest assured, it's not necessary to be on every social media platform. You just need to decide what is the best one to reach the customers you want to target. Facebook and YouTube are clearly attracting the highest number of users worldwide, billions, I might add. Facebook has a broad demographic, and I have to say it is very effective for rural communities. Twitter, I also use. It's great for news and research. LinkedIn is more for professional services. And it's really interesting to look at Google+. I don't know much about it, but it's very much more attractive to the male and technical type people. So all of this research is readily available to you, along with free tutorials and lots of training. Yes, it may take some time to set it up and learn how to use it, but it can be extremely effective, and it can be done on your smartphone while you're waiting for the kettle to boil. One very successful and relatively new rural business doesn't have a website, but uses Facebook exclusively for its marketing. Jenny Finn has transformed an old butter factory and very industrial site into Factory and Field, a homeware store and cafe. The old building provides quite a stunning backdrop to all these lovely homewares, and Jenny has an interest in photography, so she's been putting this to really good use. A dairy community in North Central Victoria, Kahuna has a population of just over 2,000 people, but I noticed in this recent post that the page has attracted 8,000 likes, which might explain why carloads of people travel long distances to visit the store. Jenny uses that like and share my post to promote her products in a monthly prize draw. One of her like and share posts last year attracted 60,000 views, which is really impressive and just shows you what a free social media platform can do for you. A bit of fun is always good, as this rag doll recently left at the store shows, and you will notice that she also shares a lot of local community event posts, which gives her page a lot of attention. In your experience, Elise, with Facebook, what have you found to be one of your most successful posts? Do you pay attention to what works well?
From memory, the most successful post, I had a bit of a moment where I thanked my grandmother for always being there for me and helping me with the machines when they would break. I would just step away and go ask for help, and that heartfelt message was greatly received.
which shows that people want to get to know you as a business person, not just what your products are about.
Yes.
It's getting to know your story. Yep, excellent. Sarah Salmon of Simply Rose Petals in Swan Hill is also a big user of social media for her online business that sells freeze-dried rose petals and other products on a national and international market. Instagram is a great choice for someone who specialises in beautiful products, and I bet Sarah's been busy lately taking new photos with all the beautiful show of roses, although I'm not sure how the rain around the district will be affecting them. Now, I know how busy Sarah is, so it is probably timely to add that there are methods of scheduling a whole series of posts well in advance and at a time that suits you. The platform I use is Hootsuite. It's free, and I can spend a few hours every now and then simultaneously organising posts on Twitter, Facebook and LinkedIn, and do it months in advance. I've even done 6 months in advance at times. And that doesn't stop you doing your moment, what happens on the day type stuff as well. But it's just good use of your time. You don't want to be on social media all day. You have a business to run. And I'm sure Sarah has her ways of managing her social media platforms too. She's far too busy to be on every day. Another amazing online business operating out of Birchip is Kawaii Kids. A young farmer's wife, Andrea Harrison, had trouble finding shoes and clothes for her toddler, so she started manufacturing and importing her own. Did she know how to build a website? No. Did she know how to retail and market products? No. She researched, and guess what? She researched online through Google and Facebook chat rooms, and as a result created a highly successful online store working from her kitchen in a small country town in the Mallee. Andrea knows all about attracting customers from all over Australia to her website via social media. She does it very well. As the mother of 4 young children, she also knows that kids grow out of their clothes and constantly need more. She's got a captive audience. Hence, you will also see on her website the option for customers to create their own account, or they can simply subscribe to her email newsletter and find out what are the latest deals. Once again, there are lots of platforms that can help businesses to manage large lists of emails and send out professional news updates, promoting products and providing links to the website so they can buy what they see and like. I use MailChimp, which is fabulous, as you can store lists for different groups of customers and use templates for creating a really professional email. Once again, you can schedule it to go out at the best time. It's really important that people opt in and have the opportunity to unsubscribe at any time they wish. No one likes getting spam. We don't. And we don't want to be accused of sending spam. It is very much about using technology to create and enhance relationships with customers. As part of this discussion this evening, I hope that why we should be adopting a digital presence for our businesses has become obvious to you. It's useful to consider it from a modern day consumer's perspective. In the digital age, everyone expects immediate access to information at any time of the day or week. We're all guilty of a little late night Googling, or early morning in my case. In the digital age, we also use technology for research as part of our decision-making process. And Elise spoke about the fact that even our local customers used to use our website to look at what they're doing their research and decision-making before they even walked physically into our store. One young person recently told me if it doesn't show up on a Google search, it doesn't exist. She will Google the businesses that show up and go with them. She'll make a decision and contact the one that most appeals to her, and she does that all from her smartphone. Once again, the couple from Queensland coming into our store. It's a win for everybody if you can make yourself available on the internet. Telling the story of your business, who you are and what you do, is so much easier with technology. Your customers may be new to the area, or they may be living in another state or overseas. How can they get to know you better? It might be by looking at your Facebook posts. It may be reading a blog about what you love being in business. It may be browsing through your website and just getting a feel for what type of business you are. Really important in the About section to give a bit of a sense of who you are. And I think this is a distinct advantage for businesses in rural and regional Australia. You can have a faceless website with no names, no sense of who you are, but why not use the advantage of you are living in a rural area and this is your passion, this is your business, and you are supporting your local community by being successful. And if they like what they see on your digital footprint, they can purchase your product from anywhere in the world at 2 a.m. in the morning while you are sound asleep. There's lots of good reasons to be online. So they are some of the thoughts that I have. We'll just pause a moment to see if there's any questions. Okay, we just had a really good point made from Anne in Witchy Proof. Thank you, Anne. Talking about limiting the number, not having the time, which is a valid thing, but also doing what you do really well. And it's important that when you put information out there in the digital world that you make sure that it is current and updated. And sometimes it's people Googling to see what time your store opens so they know when to come. Simple things like that. So if you do have a digital presence, please make sure that you keep a list of where you do have your postings, your digital footprint, and regularly make sure that it is updated. So that's a really good point to make. Thank you for that. Okay, well, that's bringing to an end our session for tonight. And thank you, everyone. I will add we are changing tomorrow to a new time slot of 3 o'clock on Friday, and we're talking about collaboration and cooperatives. And one of our special guests will be from the bakery, award-winning bakery on Broadway. And on Saturday, we're talking about entrepreneurial ecosystems, and we have a guest from Kahuna. And day 7, which is Sunday, is our Q&A and wrap up. We are just on fire for Global Entrepreneurship Week. Thank you, everybody, and good night. Okay. Thanks, Anne. We'll let you go.
Thank you.
To bed. Bye.
No, I'm here. Bye.
Didn't record the last bit? No, I'll do it again. She's gone now. Yeah, we're the one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's us. That's the beauty about this.
You can just back up.
Well, the first night my slides didn't work. All they could do was hear me. So I just sat down and re-recorded it with the slides going.
Oh, okay.
Pretended I was doing it fresh, but I wasn't. Yeah, I just forgot to hit. This is where it's really nice to have someone actually managing and you just talk. But anyway, okay, so what did I say? I've got to remember what I was saying.